观众朋友们，大家晚上好，欢迎收看《洋厨房卖家秀买家秀》，我是刘烨。我想很多的观众可能都会有这样的疑惑就是看似普普通通的食材，怎么到了杨大厨唐娜的手里就会摇身一变成为一道诱人的美食呢？其实关键还是要多多创新。那今天的卖家秀唐娜又会带来哪一些不一样的美味呢？一起来期待吧。
Are you a time-poor home cook? The essence of Meals in Minutes is that less is more and time is precious. So this week is all about 6-ingredient meals. I'm going to show you how easy it is to cook full-flavour dishes with just a handful of ingredients. These recipes are quick, easy and simple to follow. This spaghetti is bursting with goodness and ready in a flash. There is no compromise in taste with my harissa baked fish, and these soy and ginger chicken thighs will have you weak at the knees. We visit Chef Mark in Cork and find out what modern food means to him. And we'll wrap things up with another 5-minute challenge. We're going to do this with one camera take, no cheating. Fish is one of those things that just cooks super, super quick. 5 seconds to go, quick! All that and lots more coming up on Donal's Meals in Minutes. 6-ingredient meals really come into their own when you can make use of store-cupboard essentials. Then all you've got left to do is pick up some fresh veggies or some fresh meat. And this next recipe almost solely relies on stuff you are guaranteed to have in your kitchen. Generously season a large pot of boiling water. Drop in the spaghetti, and when it starts to soften, stir and then cover. After about 9 minutes, remove from the heat, drain, but reserve a little bit of the liquid. Now add some oil to a pan and fry some garlic with some chili flakes. Give it a minute and then drop in the pasta and give it a good stir. Lash in a handful of parsley, some grated parmesan. Give it all a mix through and that's it. Serve it straight to the table. In most of my 6-ingredient meals, I require at least 1 or 2 fresh ingredients, and in this case, it's all about fish to make a really quick and simple dinner. First job in this 6-ingredient recipe is to slice up my potatoes and my tomatoes. Seems like a strange combination, but the potatoes are going to add substance to this dish, while the tomatoes are going to give you a sort of sweet sauce to wrap around the fish. The tomatoes also work really well when they caramelize down with that North African spice paste, which isn't really a strong heat. It's more of a sort of dark and earthy heat, and I quite like that because it's not an overpowering one. So, tomatoes in half and potatoes exactly the same. Right, tomatoes and potatoes are sliced up, so get them straight into a bowl, and the beauty of this recipe is just how quickly it comes together. I'm going to add a tiny touch of this harissa paste. I'm going to save the majority of it for the fish fillets that I'm going to add in here, but about a teaspoon to a tablespoon's amount goes in, and a tiny touch of oil. And a good bit of some sea salt and some black pepper. Now, technically speaking, we are kind of going outside the 6-ingredient mark with our salt, pepper and oil, but you're going to have to forgive me slightly. They are things that you're guaranteed to have in your pantry. So give that a good crack of black pepper. Grab up a spoon. Give it a good toss through, and you want to make sure that harissa paste spreads all over those tomatoes and the potatoes. Tumble the veg into a lined baking tray. Nestle in some topped and tailed spring onions. Another hit of sea salt and get it in the oven for 35 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. I think my favourite part of this recipe is the smell that you get in your kitchen, because it's just that hum of spice from the harissa paste that doesn't really come alive until it hits the heat in the oven. And you can see now those tomatoes have just become really juicy and caramelised. The potatoes are a little bit charred on the outside, and this is exactly where you want it to be to create the bed for your fish fillets. Now, there isn't much prep in these sea bass fillets. The one thing I would make sure you do is just make sure that they're trimmed. Get your fishmonger to do it for you. And all we're going to do to prep them is take a nice sharp knife and just score that flesh. Now, you don't have to do this, but what I find it does is it actually gives more surface area to kind of crisp up and take on that little bit of colour. But it also helps for that harissa paste to permeate into the flesh and really inject it with a bit of that spice. So, once you have them all sliced up like that, it's time to get squeezing with that harissa paste. You're looking for about a tablespoon per each fish fillet. So this actually uses up almost a whole tube. So I'm going to grab up a spoon, and all you want to do is just spread that, smear it across the flesh and the skin, just until it's completely coated. And you can see the great colour that it's added to these fish fillets, which are now going to go flesh side down, draped over the tomatoes and the potatoes. This is now ready to go into the oven. The whole tray will bake off for about 10 minutes, just until those fish are cooked through. The last little touch to this recipe is a very quick and easy mint salsa. There's a spiciness from the harissa paste, but what we're looking for is a sort of pop of freshness. Probably a handful of mint leaves here. You're going to take them into a nice small little bundle and just using a sharp knife, take little slivers of them until you have a nice chiffonade. We're going to mix that together with a tiny touch of oil and a little bit of acidity from some white wine vinegar. Now, if you don't have white wine vinegar, you can use a little hit of lime juice or even some lemon juice will do as well. But you're only looking for about a teaspoon's amount of this white wine vinegar. Just a splash. And then top it up with about 3 times the amount of oil. So about 3 tablespoons to 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Bit of salt and some black pepper. Give the whole thing a mix up with a fork just to emulsify the oil and the vinegar together. And you can see, I mean, this is a tiny little extra, but that flavour and the smell is just really electric and fresh. I'm going to drizzle this over those fish fillets, which should be just about done. I'm going to grab them from the oven. There you go, fish fillets cooked off, and you can see just all those great colours coming together. The whole dish is served straight in the tray, and you can bring that straight to the table and get people to dig in. All in all, this is a modern meal that is gonna get you cooking. Finish it off with that salsa and you are good to go.
If you want great food, you have to start with great ingredients and treat them with respect. Chef Mark Jennings from Rosscarbery, Cork is taking this approach to another level.
Pilgrims was kind of first founded on our desire to live and be in West Cork. So we just kind of wanted to make West Cork food in West Cork. It's just, that's where the passion is just giving the food from here to people that are from here and people who are visiting here. The whole reason we're here is to use the local produce. And that always seems to mean the smaller producers. We try and use as much as possible local, and it's always Irish. I guess we're kind of striving to honour the vegetables, primarily, that are grown here. That's my main passion. Vegetables are the focus. The dishes change a lot. That changes with the vegetables that we're able to find. Mike, who's finished horticulture a couple of years ago, we've been working together for the last 2 years or so. This is our 3rd summer, and he gets very excited by variations of common vegetables. We could just try again black radishes. Yeah. If we can get them to work, it'd be well worth it. I always get excited when I find something that I haven't had any experience of using before, and I'm so lucky to know Mike, who also has like excitement for unique vegetables and is willing to try and experiment. Pretty much everything that he's growing, I'm buying. But that's the best thing about Mike, is that not everything has to be a success, and he's learning and I'm learning, and it's a nice relationship that way. Sadie's front of house, and she kind of naturally is vivacious and is the hostess with the mostest. I'm more happy to be in the back cooking. So it's just a natural blend of a relationship. It's not food, it's cozy hospitality with flavours that will excite you rather than just fill a hole. Our food isn't very sophisticated or very subtle, it's very just flavour heavy. It's supposed to be tasty food. I don't like alternating the visuals of food too much. This place is very small, we've only fit 30 people in here at a time, so that allows you to use what's really good, but without having producers have to give you a lot of produce. Pilgrims, Hopefully the food will always improve and food will evolve and change. We don't want to be rich. We don't want to make anyone rich. We just want everybody to be eating healthy and having fun, really.
It's so refreshing to see chefs like Mark showcasing amazing ingredients on their menus. Trying new approaches to delivering great food is, for me, exactly what Modern Meals is all about. It is amazing what you can do with just 6 ingredients, and this next dish is packed full of flavour, all thanks to a very trendy fermented vegetable. Get some sunflower oil onto a hot pan. Throw in the onions and that fragrant kimchi. Now that leftover rice goes in on top. Quick stir, then some soy sauce and a dash of sesame oil. Remove from the heat, and in another pan add a dash of oil and crack in a fresh egg. Fry it until it's exactly the way you like it. Serve it on top of the rice mixture and garnish with whatever you have to hand. I'm using some nori and some sesame seeds. Right, you've got 5 minutes to come up with a quick dinner. Head out to the shops, get some chicken thighs, and I'm going to show you what to do. When it comes to 6 ingredient meals, this one ticks all the boxes. You only have to go out and buy 3 fresh ingredients: the chicken thighs, the broccoli and the ginger. The rest, for me, are store cupboard ones. You've got sesame seeds, soy sauce and some egg noodles. The brilliant part of this is that it comes together so simply and so easily. And we're going to start it off in a bowl with some ginger. Peel the ginger with a sharp knife. Then grate it into a bowl with a microplane or finely chopped. Add 4 tablespoons of dark soy sauce and then drop in the chicken thighs and give it a good mix through. Cover with cling film and then stick it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes. Right, the chicken thighs have had their time in the fridge. They've marinated up and they actually smell quite nice even before they've been cooked. So these are going to fry off in a pan with a drop of oil. I'm using a flavourless oil. Something like sunflower or rapeseed will do the job here. So it's about a tablespoon to 2. And first things first, we want to get our chicken thighs skin side down in that pan. You're looking for that nice sizzle. If you don't have the sizzle, there is no point because you won't get that crispy skin. So straight in there, and don't be afraid to use that sauce in there because it's going to help form the sauce that's going to coat our noodles and broccoli as well. So stick it straight in there, and the soy sauce and the ginger is going to reduce down and create a beautiful sauce. So just cook it for about 8 minutes, skin side down, and then we're going to flip it and cook out the rest for about 3 or 4. Now, while that is cooking, in that pot, we're getting straight in there with some egg noodles. You can use rice noodles, you can use egg noodles, whatever noodles you fancy here. They go straight into that pot of boiling water. Grab up a tongs and just make sure that they start to kind of break apart in the water as they cook out. Right, our noodles are looking good. They're nearly about cooked. And our chicken thighs at this point have a really nice colour. They're really dark and sticky looking. So I'm going to flip them over. And you can see just how gorgeous those pan juices are going to be to coat all these other ingredients. For those other ingredients, I have some baby broccoli, which now gets plunged into the same pot that the noodles are cooking in. It all cooks together, which is quite handy. And this is going to cook out just until it shocks the broccoli, until you get that lovely green colour. So all in all, we nearly have a dish that's ready to go. Okay, we have noodles. We have broccoli cooked beautifully off, and our chicken is just there. So now this is where this dish all comes together. So grab up the broccoli and the noodles. They're going to get drained straight into a colander. And at this point now, you just want to blast them with a touch of cold water just to stop the noodles from overcooking. If you leave them and you don't drain them under the cold water like this, they have a tendency to just clump together, and you don't want that. Okay, that's hit with the cold water enough. You can see the steam has stopped rising off it. So make sure you give it a good shake and that there's no excess coming out there. With the heat still on that pan with the chicken, the whole thing gets tossed straight into the pan. grab up the tongs. The last and sixth ingredient in our 6-ingredient supper is some toasted sesame seeds. Get them in there, toss them in amongst all those great flavours, and just take your time getting them completely coated. It looks gorgeous. You got the greens, you got the noodles, and you got the chicken, and at this point all that's left to do is serve some up. And I love the fact that you can bring the whole dish straight to the table. Everyone can tuck in, grab up some of the noodles, grab some of that lovely chicken thigh, a little bit of broccoli around the edges. Moment of truth time. Six ingredients. You would never guess it. There's sweetness from that soy sauce, there's saltiness from it, that heat of the ginger that's subtle enough just to kind of wrap around the chicken meat. It is quick to cook. This is what modern cooking is all about. My big question is, can I cook a fish supper using 6 ingredients in under 5 minutes? Well, we're going to do this with one camera take, no cheating. 5 minutes on the clock. Let's click start. Right, we are good to go. 5 minutes. Lemon sole, straight from the fridge. You want to use lemon sole here because not only is this sole meunier, but we are also going to get quick cooking fish, and it's going to be delicious. To make up this sort of sole meunier, which is a classic sort of French way of preparing sole, we're going to add some salt and pepper to some flour. Season up that flour with a good, generous bit of pepper. Essentially, this is going to be the coating for this fish. So you do want to be quite generous with it. Now, give it a good pinch of salt. And actually, before I get cracking, we need to get our pan on nice and hot. With any of these recipes, it is all about getting the pan really nice and hot. So, look, we've got a lovely bit of flour seasoned up and ready to go. Just give that a good mix through and make sure that it's evenly combined at this point. Looking good. Okay, give it a little shake. Sole is with the skin on. You want to keep the skin on. It's lovely and it's great flavour, and it's also going to give you a lovely crispy back to it. So just coat it quite nicely in your flour. Give the hands a quick wash. Into that hot pan, we're going to go in there with some butter. So a few knobs of butter going straight into that pan. We're also going to hit it with a touch of oil, and the reason I'm doing that is just to make sure that it doesn't burn, the butter doesn't burn. Now, while that's melting down, I need to check my time. We are just under 4 minutes. Looking good, looking good. Give that butter a nice melt down. This is why you need your pan on nice and hot very quickly. And now that it's melted down, just grab up your fish, shake off any of that excess flour, and just pop it into the pan, coating it in all that gorgeous butter. Look at that. Right, get rid of the flour. You don't need that anymore. We are looking good. Hands getting a quick wash again. Essentially, this sole meunier is with a little bit of a difference. I'm not using capers, and you can use them if you want to, but we are going to do this as a full meal. So we have some lentils and some asparagus, and I have a great little tip for quick cooking your asparagus. Just take a veggie speed peeler like this, and take the end of the stalk, and just take off nice little slivers of that asparagus. There is a tiny bit of waste, but you know what? This is quick cooking, and we just have to crack on. So take up your asparagus spears. Your fish is getting a gorgeous colour. I just want to make sure that we don't burn it. I'm going to turn it down at this point slightly. Keep going with those asparagus spears. Really quick cooking veggies. If you didn't want to do asparagus spears, you could use, what could you use? You could use some spinach. Some baby spinach would be perfect in here. But you're only doing this for one person, so nice little slivers of asparagus is exactly what we're after here. And the speed peeler like this will just make life a little bit quicker and a little bit easier. I love the fact that with a recipe like this, it literally takes minutes. And fish, people forget this, but fish is one of those things that just cooks super, super quick. So just shave up that asparagus. We want to, utilise the fact that we have fish that cooks quick and use a vegetable that cooks really quick too. So this is looking pretty good. You can eat these, no bother. Stick them in your gob and you'll be grand. Give that a nice shave, and those peelings are now going to get put in alongside the fish, but first we do need to turn it. So at this point we should have a bit of a golden colour on the fish, which we do. It's looking gorgeous. Turn up that heat. We are now at 1 minute and 41 seconds. I think we're going to make it, but we just have to keep cracking through. The asparagus goes in and around the fish here. You want to get it just coated in those little bits of butter and just get them nicely tossed through. They should soften down ever so slightly. And while it softens down, we're just going to clear down. So asparagus is gone. We've got all the excess.
The beauty of this 5-minute meal is just how quickly it comes together. The rest of the ingredients we're going to need are a little bit of lemon juice, some butter, and we've got some lentils as well. 6 ingredients: fish, asparagus, butter, lentils, a little touch of flour. It's all looking good. Little squeeze of lemon juice goes into the pan while we're cooking off the fish. We're going to get that fish, which is now beautifully cooked, out of the pan. Smells so, so gorgeous right now. Make sure you get all the asparagus out there as well. Get that right there. We're going to whack in a tiny touch more of that butter and get it melted down. And we've got 44 seconds to go, lads. It's not looking good to finish this up, but I'll keep going. We have that fish beautifully cooked. We have our lemon ready to go. Feeling the pressure a little bit with 30 seconds to go. I'm hoping that brown butter will brown up. Let me turn up the heat. Okay, this is looking good. Season it up, bit of salt, bit of pepper, tiny touch, and a squeeze of lemon juice once it goes nice and brown. It's starting to get there. Come in and have a look at this, because this is where the action is. This is where the flavour is. I've got 18 seconds. Okay, gonna squeeze it with that touch of lemon juice. Make sure to get no pips in there. Give it a good sizzle. This is looking good. We're gonna utilise this to make a gorgeous sauce. We've got 5 seconds to go. Quick, plate it up. We've got those gorgeous lentils. Now, with these lentils, you can serve them cold or you can serve them hot, but we're going to get them straight on the pan. I'm out of time. I didn't make it quite, but you know what? We are nearly there. We're going to serve this up. When you've gone to the effort, you want to make sure that you serve this up beautifully. So grab up that gorgeous sole fillet, stick them on the side, get some of those gorgeous asparagus spears, give it a nice little toss through, little lemon wedge on the side. Gorgeous, where all the action is, brown butter. And my friends, that is a fish supper in just over 5 minutes. Next up, a parsley cream cod, all cooked in the one pan to save you time on wash up. Now, if you can't get your hands on cod, any white fish will do, and I hope you give this a go because it is super simple. Heat some oil on a large pan over a medium heat. When the oil is hot, add the shallots and fry them until they're soft. Then add the garlic and some sliced courgette. Fry them until they start to take colour. Transfer the entire mixture to a plate and set it aside. It's time for the white wine. Let it reduce by half, then add the stock and potatoes. Season well and cover the pan. You want to cook this for about 10 minutes. Add in some cream, then add the courgette. Get in there with the asparagus, the frozen peas, and then nestle in those cod fillets. Give them another quick season before putting the lid on and cooking for a final 5 minutes. When it's just right, uncover, scatter with some chopped parsley on top, and then get it straight to the table. Magic. Get half the chickpeas into a food processor. Then add in the breadcrumbs, tahini, and an egg. Cumin and coriander are going to add great flavour here, and it starts to come alive when you give it all a whiz. When the mixture's smooth, throw in the spring onions, remaining chickpeas, season with salt and pepper, and give it all a good mix. Once it comes together, form into small balls. Fry them in a little oil on a medium heat for 5 minutes on each side. You want them to be crispy and golden. When they're ready, serve them up with a salad of your choice and a spoonful of yogurt dressing. To start, add some salt to a pot of water and then drop in your potatoes. Bring to a steady simmer and cook until just tender. Now, get a heavy pan on a medium to high heat and add a good dollop of goose fat. Toss in your cloves of garlic and some sprigs of rosemary. Pour in the parboiled potatoes and give them a good mix around that goose fat. Season with salt and cook until golden brown. Then simply serve them straight to the table.
好了，我们今天的节目呢也要告一段落了。感谢您收看本期节目，我们下周同一时间再见。